It makes me want the Cowboys, the Star, the NFL makes me want to bring it all to bear and do as great a job as we can do. Paul Tagliabue said that one of the great cornerstones of football is tradition, and I aspire about that. And this has truly got tradition all over it. And for us to get to do it here using the NFL, and we will use the Cowboys, and we'll use you in every way we can to talk about the great tradition. And this will also attract the players, the kinds of players that we want to see. And the NFL is gaining from this because we get to evaluate in a practice condition just like we do down at the Senior Bowl. So it just fits for us. We want to be a part of it. It has our highest priority to put the show on and put it on right for fans. So if you think about it, these guys are really competing for a big thing out here when they're here all week, and we want to invite fans from this whole area to be and participate in this bowl game.
Jerry, you've had this game here for 3 years. Long-term plans of keeping it here?
Well, if we can earn it, if we can really, that would be the goal. Yeah, to just make it in every way as successful as we can. I call it breaking glass. Just don't stop with anything. Let's make this thing a real accomplishment, and then we'll be doing some good for several constituencies, which is what this thing is all about, really, when you think about it.
Jerry, when you see a kid like Dallas, you can just see the appreciation he has for what Shriners has done. And then this opportunity to be a part of this, just, that's got to warm your heart.
Well, it does, because we all should be giving a big thank you to the Shriners. And that's not just for the 100 years of the bowl game, but it's for what the Shriners are about all over this country. And they're men like them that I've looked up to all my life. And it's a great honor to be in the Shriner organization. Nobody is any prouder or any more given than they are to help the kind of stories we heard in here today. If there is one really substantive thing that sports, and in our case, I'll say the NFL, can do, is use everything we're about to get all the stories like we were heard in there today about that young man that had to have a couple of amputations so he could run at full pace. Now, that's easy to say, but what a magnificent story. And the main thing is, if you took him apart and showed his heart, it would be a bigger heart than most of the people that we view on television every day. And so in a way, they build hearts around here with the Salvation Army. This is just a great thing for us to be a part of, and we're just going to work harder than we've ever worked to make it a success.
How does some of this tap into some of your own care that you've received when you've been sick, to be able to see these young kids get that opportunity and to live full lives as a result of what Shriners does?
Well, candidly, I've never known the challenges that those kinds of stories that we really point out that the Shriner hospitals help. I've never known that. And I just thought sometimes that regarding football and what have you, that it hurt. And then you see everything that someone that really has to pick it up and go work with. And to me, apart from really giving an opportunity for these players to showcase themselves, and the Shriners helping make that possible, in some way using the Cowboys, in some way using the NFL, and I'm into using them, to remind and tell those kinds of stories that we heard in here today of a young man that really never ran as fast as he could until he had his second amputation and get it right. That puts everything in place. And makes that list of issues that you guys are going to hit me on in just a minute look small.
But also free of cost to their families. I
Well,
mean, how
thank you.
imperative is that?
Yeah, thank you. And of course, that's the wonderful thing about the Shriners, is that they do this and they will do it free to the families that need that help. And these Shriners are hard-working people. They're not necessarily the thousands and thousands and thousands of them. They aren't sitting out here as multimillionaires themselves. And so they are really giving. And they're so proud of it. I've been around Shriners all my life, and I just can't tell you how much I admire them as people who are trying to help.
Jerry, 3 weeks to the trade deadline exactly. Is the way the offense is playing right now make you motivated to maybe pick up the phone and make some moves?
The way the offense is playing?
Yeah.
Well, of course, I'd like to have seen us take that ball on in when we had possession up the other night against Charlotte. But our offense is playing at a level that we can play better. But I'm pretty proud of how we've played so far. And we do have some serious help on the way. And that's part of the reason I feel as good as I do, because Dak's playing outstanding. Certainly Pickens is playing outstanding. And we've got some other people that are really doing their part, that are showing up. And I'm going to be pretty general here because I like what we're doing over there defensively. Anybody can tell you there's some adjustments that we need to make. We've got a lot of personnel, especially in our pass rush. We're deep in pass rush. We were really not deep last year because we had so many injuries. And Sam Williams, Parsons, people like that, Lawrence. Well, we're not in that shape this year, and so we've got a real strength there. And I think we'll use that as we look and adjust in the games ahead. And as always, we got some adjustments to make. We'll make those and on defense, and not necessarily an adjustment of player or an adjustment of something you'd see when you line up, but more an adjustment of just focus and an emphasis on some of the keys that those players are keying off of. But I think we can improve on our defense. And candidly, to answer your question, we have thought all along that if we see a way to improve this year with a trade at the deadline, then we'll take advantage of it. And that's what we positioned for to start this year, was to have ammunition to do things if we have an opportunity.
Do you see more man-to-man on defense? What are those adjustments going to look like as far as schematically?
Well, that's an understandable and pretty easy way to say different. Is how about a little more man? Well, how about a little more man? I bet you see a little more man. And on the man, you obviously know you give up some things on man. That's why they play zone, is because of that. But I think you will see adjustments. When we have adjustments, they have been successful, but it calls for adjustments. The good news is that Flus has had a lot of experience. He's had some good days. He's had some bad days. That's what we're getting here. We're getting a young coach with a lot of future that also has been through, had a lot of experience, including head coach in the NFL. I have a lot of confidence in him.
What is the difference here between, in 2020, you chose not to retain Mike Nolan after 1 year. Are there differences, similarities to this situation with Eberflus in the way that defense played and the direction that you ultimately ended up making at the end of that season?
Well, again, I want to point out, you're talking about at the end of the season.
Correct.
With Mike, and we're just through 6 games here, so we're really ahead of ourselves. But
too premature to talk about.
But well, it in a way it is, but I can already tell you it's different because we had. Eberflus has been here for 7 years before he got here, and so we know Eberflus. We know him, Eberflus, and so Flus. Let's just call it Flus. hang me there. But still, we know him. And then the other thing is that when he wasn't with us, he had the kind of experience that I like to take advantage of. The reason he was available to us is because of his current coaching status, but he's been a head coach and he's been a coordinator with varying degrees of success. That's when you got somebody with that much background and that much to look at, then you want to be really looking for, I'd say, the good things they do.
What do you?
Longer.
Right. You want to give him a little bit more.
Longer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You say you know Flus because he was here before, and certainly he was here with the Marinelli Kiffin scheme that he brought back. And back then, the scheme was criticized for not disguising and being too vanilla, and people know. What do you like about the scheme that you wanted to bring it back?
Well, I like fundamentally. Let's understand that we've got players that have played a lot of a man, and they've actually had success in man. And so we basically made a change 3 years in a row with our defense, with our defensive scheme. Y'all have written about that very well. Not that that's an excuse, but that shows there are things about each one of those that you want to incorporate with some of these very players. And I can tell you firsthand, players get better when they have some changes. They get better as they play in the scheme. Some form of those kinds of changes, not necessarily a declaration of going from white to black at all, red to blue. The real difference is nuances that go in there, or maybe positions. In other words, when it's called or when it's not called. Those are adjustments that you'd expect a coach, expect your defense to be making all the time.
Jerry, in 2018, your offense was struggling midway through the season. You made an Amari Cooper trade and jump-started thing. Do you need an Amari Cooper-like trade for your defense?
Well, if there is a trade that would help the defense, we're in position to make that trade. I want to remind everybody that I've said it earlier today. One of the great things about our trade that we had with Green Bay is that our tackle makes about $22 million a year, where he costs us $2 million. And so we're getting a $20-something million a year player for $2 million right now. And he's playing about as well as anybody on defense. Why do I bring that up? That alone has increased our flexibility of being able to look at potential trades right now, whereas you might have had hand cramps before. So we're in position to look at a trade. That doesn't mean we're going to make one, but we certainly had in mind when we started this season that we were going to have ammo to be more flexible in terms of what we do with the roster as we move along this year and, of course, as we get into next couple of years.
Does it make it tricky with the timing? In other words, trade deadline's coming up in 3 weeks. You're getting back some of these other players on defense here the next couple of weeks. How do you really assess what this defense looks like, or whether you want to give up trade capital too soon? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, and that is their job. And it does add to try to speculate on how Overshawn is going to impact this defense. Is speculation at best. And the same thing with Ravel. We hear about he's doing things out here that are just amazing, but he hasn't played in the NFL, and you know that's going to cost you someplace if he's on the field. So that's the part of the nuances that you have to work through. We will weigh what are the likelihood of the players that we've got coming back, how they will impact where that'll put this team, as opposed if we should add a player in a trade. And I don't have a trade in mind right now at all. And if that comes about right now, if someone is on the phone calling.
Speaking of Overshawn, when do you expect him back? What's the timeline right now?
Well, I think we ask that question every time we have a personnel meeting and talk about rehab. But I think it's I'd be looking at after the bye.
After the bye, also.
Jerry, George Pickens on pace for career highs and everything. From our perspective, it almost looks like he's been everything you guys would have hoped for. Are you open to starting extension conversations with him right now?
Well, again, I don't want to sit here and, as you know, that even has a competition to it, and it's very aspect of it. He is doing more than we could have, than we did expect, or that we could have expected. And what's really special is he's a real plus to have around the team. He's a real plus around his teammates. He's a great plus around those coaches. And those coaches really think highly of him. And so he's not only doing it on the field, he's doing it as a part of the team concept. That's very important, and in his particular case should be noted. But we'll weigh that. We knew full well that if things really went like we want them to go, that certainly we need to think about having some room available if we're going to pay a second receiver at that level.
As down as you were Sunday, did last night's Washington loss uplift you a little bit, like we're still in this thing?
It just reminded me that we are still in it. And it reminded me that was eerily similar to the way we got beat. And they came down and they were able to execute, get the ball, and get the kick. And but for you should give me the chance to have our offense with the ball down there Sunday where we had it. And I like our odds of winning that game. And it was right down to that right now. They did not surprise us on running that ball against us like that. That was a suspect. And we'd like to have a mulligan. And we'll get some, but still, I see so much parity, and then you factor in that these teams get compromised with injury, and we can have and may. But if we should have some good go of it here over the next weeks ahead with our injury situation and return of injury, and we can get some wins, then this thing with Dak playing the way he's playing and with the way some of the guys have played that are playing with these guys out right now, I'm encouraged. The last thing that I'm thinking about is in any way being out of the hunt.
We got time for one more.
Why do you think Dak is playing so well?
Oh, I think Dak is a heck of a quarterback, and I saw a well-done article today with Kalashov and in the morning news, and he was talking about the Tony Romo years and comparing that with the Dak years, and he's absolutely right. All of them were there at times right around that rim, and one of the things that I probably have a sense of just remorse that we didn't, when those guys were playing quarterback like that, to get one or get a chance to get a Super Bowl. Mistake. You don't think that I didn't jump up a lot of mornings in those years that we've had Dak or we had Romo when they were ready to play and say, let's get a Super Bowl, and it'd be done. I didn't say let's don't, for instance, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but it wasn't a mistake. What I regret is that we haven't been able to get it done. We have been around the rim a lot. I've got to say this. If you'll look at their winning percentages over the 10 years that each quarterback here, 10 or 11 years, you look at those winning percentages on those teams, and it's probably 5th, 6th best winning percentages in the NFL. Now, I know you're going to say those playoffs are at the bottom, and so obviously are the Super Bowls. And I don't hang my hat on having teams that are playing well enough to have a shot at it. I think this team has a shot.
All right.
I think some of those teams did.